Welcome back, everyone, to the Pod Review.
All right, so get ready to dive deep today because we're looking into the career of rock vocalist Keith St. John.
Oh, yeah.
You might not immediately recognize the name.
Right.
You've definitely heard his work.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking Montrose, Burning Rain,
Yeah.
all sorts of other things. We've got interviews and biographical articles to guide us.
Awesome.
So, yeah, we're really going to learn about what makes this guy tick.
Yeah, what's really fascinating about St. John is his story isn't like the typical,
Right?
garage band, stadium rock kind of trajectory.
Oh, yeah?
It's full of twists and turns, always kind of searching for that creative control and the perfect musical fit.
Okay, so let's kind of unpack that starting from the beginning.
Okay.
Paint this picture of a kid who was like a total math whiz,
Oh, wow.
like prodigy level.
Really?
But get this, he was composing music before he even knew the names of the notes.
Oh,
It's wild.
that's so interesting. It's like this innate musicality just bubbling under the surface.
Yeah, and it's really intriguing how his journey began so far from the world of hard rock.
Right.
I mean, the show tunes, jazz, opera,
Yeah.
all these different styles kind of swirling around, and it makes you wonder how that shaped his voice,
Right.
his approach to music.
Yeah, it's like all those influences laid the groundwork for something unique.
Yeah,
You don't really hear a lot of hard rock vocalists with that kind of background.
definitely not.
And speaking of the unexpected, there's this great anecdote about St. John being a singing drummer in his first metal band.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine pounding the drums and belting out tunes at the same time?
At the same time.
Talk about ambition.
Oh, yeah, it really speaks to his drive to be right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Not just keeping time in the back.
Right.
And that ambition took him to the Long Island music scene in the 80s,
Oh, yeah.
which was like a crucible for heavy metal back then.
What?
So many legendary bands came out of there.
Uh-huh.
And for St. John, it was about proving himself, finding his own voice, instead of just playing covers.
So you've got this young guy, tons of talent, cutting his teeth in a super competitive scene.
Right.
And then comes this crazy story, almost too good to be true.
Okay.
At 17, he bumps into the head of A&R for Atlantic Records
Wow.
at a 7-Eleven at 4 a.m.
You're kidding.
What are the odds?
That's insane.
Right.
It's like a rock and roll fairy tale.
It is.
But here's the twist. He walks away from the deal.
Wait, he
Yeah.
walked away from Atlantic?
Yep.
I mean, I get staying true to your vision, but wow.
All right.
That must have taken some serious guts.
Oh, yeah.
He was that young and already knew what he wanted.
Exactly. It shows you right away that he's not just chasing fame.
Right.
He wants control over his art.
Yeah.
That independent streak becomes a recurring theme throughout his career.
Interesting.
He wasn't about to become a prepackaged product. He wanted to shape his own sound.
So he's got this independent streak. He's clearly talented.
Mhm.
It's not like he drops off the map after that.
Right.
His next moves involve bands with some serious heavy hitters.
Like who?
Rudy Sarzo,
Oh, wow.
John 5,
Okay.
bands like St. John and Sun King.
Hmm.
These weren't fly-by-night projects.
Yeah.
Did those experiences further solidify that desire for creative control?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, these bands might not have achieved mainstream success, but they were filled with incredible musicians,
Right.
seasoned pros.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with St. John. He's always gravitating toward these high-caliber collaborations.
Interesting.
He's a team player, but he's also discerning.
Right.
It's not just about being in a band, it's about finding the right fit,
Yeah.
the right chemistry to bring his vision to life.
Totally.
Yeah.
I get that. That drive for the right fit, it really comes into play with his next moves, Montrose and Burning Rain.
Oh, yeah.
Now, for those who might need a refresher,
Right.
Montrose was the band that launched Sammy Hagar's career.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, they were giants in the hard rock world.
Oh, yeah. Montrose's influence is undeniable.
Yeah.
I mean, their sound was raw, powerful.
Uh-huh.
It really left a mark on a whole generation of musicians.
It did.
For St. John to step into that role of frontman,
Right.
I mean, it wasn't just filling some shoes.
Yeah.
It was like carrying on a legacy.
And it wasn't just any gig, right? I mean, Sammy Hagar himself said that St. John was the best fit to carry on those songs.
Wow.
That's a pretty big endorsement coming from the Red Rocker himself.
Yeah, it really speaks to St. John's ability to embody the spirit of the music
Mm-hmm.
while bringing his own unique flavor to it.
Right.
He's not an imitator.
Yeah.
He's an interpreter,
Yeah.
bringing something new to those classic songs.
So we've got this guy who's worked with some pretty big names, clearly talented, always pushing for that creative control.
Right.
Now, to dig even deeper, we have this fantastic interview with St. John from Total Rock.
Okay.
It's casual, but packed with insights.
Uh-huh.
And get this, it takes place at the legendary Rainbow Bar in LA. You can practically smell the rock and roll history in the air.
I bet.
The Rainbow is more than just a bar.
Right.
It's like an institution.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, so many iconic musicians have walked through those doors,
Yeah.
shared stories, jammed on those stages.
Uh-huh.
It's like a living, breathing museum of rock and roll.
It really is.
You're right. It's like we're eavesdropping on a conversation between friends.
Yeah.
But these friends happen to be rock legends.
Right.
And the anecdotes are pure gold.
Oh, I bet.
Like how he met Doug Aldrich, his future Burning Rain bandmate.
Okay.
Get this. They met, hit it off, and landed a record deal in a matter of days.
Wow. Seriously.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, that rapid success tells you something crucial about their combined talent.
Yeah.
Your creative synergy.
Right.
I mean, they clearly had something special.
Yeah.
Something that clicked immediately, both musically and professionally.
Makes you wonder what might have happened if he'd signed that deal with Atlantic years earlier. Would he have had that same spark, that freedom to experiment?
Yeah, that's the fascinating what if of St. John's career.
It is.
But you can't deny the path he chose led him to some incredible collaboration
Right.
experiences.
Okay, back to the interview.
Okay. Yeah.
Why is he the guy so many bands turn to?
Right.
What is it about his voice, his style, that makes him such a perfect fit for these projects?
Well, I think it's a combination of factors.
Okay.
His work ethic is undeniable,
Uh-huh.
and his vocal style just seamlessly fits into that hard rock sound that was so big in the late 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
But there's also a certain charisma,
Yeah.
a stage presence that draws people in.
Right.
He's got that it factor that goes beyond just hitting the right notes.
So we've got talent, work ethic, charisma. And let's not forget, the guy can handle some seriously legendary material.
Right.
I mean, he's fronted Montrose.
Uh-huh.
But speaking of iconic bands, we have to talk about Kingdom Come.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is a band with a fascinating and some might say controversial history.
Yeah, find it.
For those who need a quick recap,
Yeah.
Kingdom Come exploded onto the scene in the late 80s
Yeah,
with a sound that drew some heavy comparisons to Led Zeppelin.
they did.
Some people called it homage.
Yeah.
Others called it a blatant ripoff.
Right.
It was a very hot topic back then. Talk about trial by fire, right?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
step into that situation,
Sounds good.
you'd have to have some serious confidence in your abilities.
Absolutely.
And what's interesting is that St. John mentions in the interview that those Led Zeppelin comparisons would likely be seen in a completely different light today.
Interesting.
Like what was once considered a negative might now be seen as retro cool, a
Yeah.
nod to the classics.
I like
How
that.
times have changed.
I really have.
It makes you think about the whole idea of influence and how we perceive it.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered Kingdom Come, but I want to circle back to Montrose for a minute.
Okay.
This interview is just full of great stories.
Yeah.
Like, St. John vividly remembers the exact moment Ronnie Montrose praised his performance on stage.
Wow.
You can hear the emotion in his voice as he describes it.
Yeah,
It clearly meant the world to him.
I bet.
It's a testament to the power of mentorship. That validation from someone you admire.
It is.
And coming from a legend like Ronnie Montrose, it must have been incredibly impactful.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
Absolutely. And speaking of impact, there's this part where he breaks down the song Space Age Sacrifice,
Okay.
which I'm learning was a pretty significant track for Montrose.
Oh, yeah. That song, with its powerful message and that driving rhythm,
Yeah.
became a staple of their live shows.
Uh-huh.
It captured the essence of Montrose's sound.
Yeah.
Really resonated with audiences.
Okay, so we've heard about those incredible moments with Montrose, and honestly, I could talk about that band all day.
Oh, you do?
But I think it's time to shift gears a bit.
Okay.
We've talked about St. John fronting these legendary bands, but what about his own live shows?
Right.
What can you expect if you go see him on stage?
Well, based on what he describes in that Total Rock interview,
Uh-huh.
it sounds like a very different experience
Okay.
from like those huge arena shows.
Okay.
Think intimate venues.
Right.
An interactive vibe.
Yeah.
A lot more looseness and spontaneity.
So it's not about the spectacle.
Right.
It's about connecting with the audience on a more personal level.
Exactly. He talks about how he likes to keep things loose,
Uh-huh.
throw in some sing-alongs,
Yeah.
even take requests.
Oh, wow.
It's about creating that shared experience.
Yeah.
A party atmosphere where everyone feels involved.
And what about the set list? Does he stick to one era, one band?
No, not at all.
Okay.
He mentions playing stuff from Lynch Mob,
Huh?
Burning Rain,
Of course.
of course, some Montrose.
Right.
And get this, He even hints at the possibility of throwing in some Black Sabbath.
Whoa, Black Sabbath. Now that's something I would love to hear.
I know, right?
Talk about range.
Yeah.
So, if you're a fan of hard rock, classic, or contemporary, a Keith St. John show sounds like a can't-miss experience.
It really does.
He's also been involved in these amazing Ronnie Montrose Remembered shows,
Oh, yeah.
which feature a who's who of rock royalty.
Really?
I mean, we're talking Brad Whitford from Aerosmith, Howard Leese from Heart Steve Stevens.
Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, the list goes on and on.
It speaks volumes about the respect he's earned within the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, to bring together such a diverse group of musicians,
Right.
it's more than just talent. You
Yeah.
know? It's about the relationships he's built, the way he treats people. He seems like a really cool guy. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and let the music play on.